Okay, so this video is about making this tabletop, which is a design that was shared by the Papa 1947 in his video, Wood Turning the Great Illusion, Ruth Ann Berry quilting pattern. This is a tank shell, and the tabletop is a new tabletop for this table for a friend of the family. So in this video, I'm going to cover the design aspects of this. Gary in his video talked about the angles and the jigs on how to cut it on his wedgie sled, which I did replicate. But the dimensions and the pattern, I'll go into a little more detail and I'll share that in the video. I also will share some of the problems I encountered, mostly in the glue up and the fit up, as I put this together, and how I was able to solve them. I have the wedgie sled set for 30-degree angle, and played around with that to get it perfect. And I have played with the stop block to get pieces that are as exactly square as I could get, and I'll show the measurement on that when I'm done. But I am ready to cut some segments, and I'll show cutting a few. So the measurement here is very difficult to make because you got to get right on the corner. So in order to make sure this is perfectly square, I did the measurement of the width of the wood, which was 0.79 or almost 0.8, and then measured it this way, which is easy to measure again. And it's 0.8 as well. Actually a hair under 0.8, so pretty close to square. This will be my first star. So I'm going to glue it up the same way he did, and I'm not going to repeat. I cut all the squares of each of the ones I needed to, so hopefully I don't have to go back to that setup, but if I do, I can do it. So I'm going to put most of the squares away. The next piece I need is the one that's two times the length, both the parallelogram and the normal segment, which both have a side that's roughly 1 7/8 long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and set the wedgie sled for 1 7/8, cut a piece and make sure it exactly matches this. Well, it took me a couple of cuts to get there, but I've got the setup done. This is the way I measured. Basically, sit them on the horizontal surface and feel if there's a difference. Okay, so I cut a segment, and you can see it's a perfect fit. So the setup's the same. Now I can use that setup to cut all the pieces I need of this one and this one. I need 3 of the 3x parallelograms of each of the woods other than the Wenge. I'm going to use the same process I used on the wedgie sled. I'm going to measure and set it up, and then I'll make some cuts just to make sure it's the right length. So the total length is about 2 3/4. And again, I'm going to set up the wedgie sled. I'll cut the segments, I'll bring them in and compare, and then I'll do all the cuts. So same process, I won't show it again. Well, I didn't have as good a luck with it as Gary did on having everything fit together perfect, and I don't know if my angle was slightly off or my glue up was slightly off, but I do have a few small gaps that I'll have to fill, and I've had to trim, I'd say almost half of the outer pieces to get a good fit, but everything fits really well now, and the triangles I just cut will go in here, and they stick out just a little bit. I'll swing it around so you can see better. They stick out just a little bit, but nothing here on these outer edges is perfect. So I'm going to end up trimming the outer edge, so it's easier just to cut these triangles a little large, and we'll trim them. Okay, the next step I'm going to do is drum sand this flat so that it's ready to move on. So in this step, I am just trying to prepare one edge to be a good edge for the miter saw. I think I like this edge the best. It's already got good polished wood on it. So I just need to disc sand the excess off of this Wenge and get this flat. I'm not going for a finished edge on it. I'm just going for a good edge to put on the miter saw. So this is the good edge, and I'm got this set up to try to clamp it. I am going to try to barely take some of this wood off and take the Wenge off. So I'm going to trim this and a hair of this board so that it'll create a perfect joint right here on the corner, and then I'll put a piece of Wenge on and go all the way around one at a time. I have switched to using the piece of Wenge now to clamp this solidly to the miter saw, and I've adjusted this where I believe it's going to just take a hair of this off. So I'm going to try to make the cut. Okay, so I trimmed the other side off. It doesn't have to be flush, but I am now going to clamp this piece on. I'm going to try to line it up pretty close here, but again, it's getting turned, so the line up on the end could be off a little bit. So I'm going to glue it up, and this is the bottom. So in order to have it aligned with the top, I'm doing it on a flat surface, and I'll do my first clamp up there. Okay, for this last cut, my miter saw is not long enough to cut all the way, so I'm going to trim right back here, and then this angled piece should fit right in there, and this one can overhang a little bit, and I can trim later. So that's the plan. That looks like a perfect fit. Well, I glued a tenon on the back of this hot glue just to be able to turn it round. It is now round and sanded and ready for finish, and I'm going to try putting on friction polish and carnauba wax on the lathe. Okay, looking good. I'm going to let that cure overnight and then hit it with carnauba wax in them tomorrow.